Supposed biblical error, the location of the Gerasenes or the Gadarenes. Mark 5, Luke 8, and Matthew 8 tell us of an event where Jesus healed a demon-possessed man by pulling the demons out of him and sending them into a herd of pigs, which ran down a cliff into the Sea of Galilee. However, Mark and Luke tell us this happened in the country of the Gerasenes, or in Gerasa. But the city of Gerasa was more than 30 miles south of the Sea of Galilee, so Mark must have made an error in thinking this city was on the Sea of Galilee. Then the skeptics claim Matthew realized this error, so he changed the city that it happened in to the country of the Gadarenes, or Gadara. But that is still 8 miles from the Sea of Galilee. So did all three gospel writers make a pretty blatant geographical error? Not so fast. By skeptics pointing this out, they only demonstrate they need to read more carefully. Neither Matthew, Mark, or Luke say Jesus ever entered a specific city. Luke and Mark say Jesus entered the country of the Gerasenes, so the region of Gerasa. And Matthew as well says Jesus entered the region of Gadara, or the country of the Gadarenes. No one says Jesus was ever in either of those specific cities. If you look on a map, both of these cities were in the same province of Decapolis, and the coast of the Sea of Galilee is also part of this country. So there is no error if we take all three gospel writers at their word, since they all say Jesus entered the country of these people, not a specific city. This also makes sense once we look at who each...
Okay, maybe because I was about to ask why the country is being referred to based on different points.
Each writer was specifically writing to. Both Mark and Luke were writing to a Gentile audience, so they identified the region with a city that Gentiles would have been more familiar with, the famous city of Gerasa, whereas Matthew was writing to Jews, who were closer and more familiar with the region.
Is this the gospel, or there's three gospel, right? Meaning the gospel are written for different audience then. Is it? Meaning that Matthew should be read from the lens that it is written to Jewish audience, while Mark and Luke should be read understanding that it is written to Gentile audience.
So Matthew is able to use a closer city, the capital of Decapolis, Gadara. Thus the gospel writers are just identifying the region for their different audiences. We often do the same thing. Since I grew up around Pittsburgh, I could be identified as an American, a Pennsylvanian, a Pittsburgher, or by the local town in Washington I grew up in. Depending on who I was talking to, like someone far away, they may just see me as a Pittsburgher, but to someone closer, they may identify me with the area of Washington. The gospel writers were simply just doing the same thing. Second, there is actually a town in that region called Gerasa, or sometimes referred to as Cursa. That is right on the Sea of Galilee, and actually fits the description found in the New Testament of having cliffs over the Sea of Galilee. So it is possible this is where the event took place, and due to language barriers, the town was mispronounced to sound like the other cities in that region, with similar sounding names. Many times languages will cause variations in how people spell or pronounce.
Mispronounce meaning what? Meaning that the people mispronounce and the author heard it and write it based on that mispronunciation. Is that what it means? Because once it's written, there's no mispronunciation, right? So it must mean the mispronunciation happened before it is being written. Is that what he meant here?
Pronounce different cities or countries. As we went over in this video, most of the variants in the New Testament manuscripts are just spelling errors or spelling differences in proper names.
Wait. So now it's spelling error. Isn't that referring to two different things though? I mean, when you say spelling error, it is error while spelling. But mispronunciation is when you speak, right?
That simply could be what is happening here, and these were just different linguistic ways of pronouncing a town that sounded a lot like the nearby cities. But even if that is not true, all three authors are still just saying Jesus was in that region or country and on the coast of the Sea of Galilee. They do not say either of these cities were on the coast, but that they were in the same general region. Thus this supposed error never existed to begin with.
So I understand all of this video is just giving reason for the error to be not an error, right? Or can be resolved, or there are explanation behind the so-called error. But is there any hierarchy of which they think is more likely to be the case? For example, in this case, right, there's two different options. And in terms of the wording, he did say that, okay, even if this is not true, we still have that, right? So is it purely as long as, you know, there are some explanation possible, maybe this, it's okay, right? I think that's the frame, right? Even though they are not really having which one is higher preference in terms of what is most likely. Just curious. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time.